All right, so jumping right into it here. It's an 83 GL. It was a 6-cylinder originally. I think the car was from Oklahoma, but I got it out of Connecticut. Just basically bought all the parts off Facebook Marketplace. Found a motor, T5, harness. And of course, when you do that and you really don't know where stuff comes from, you develop some issues. Overall, the car is really nice. It's got a great interior. Brown on brown, gorgeous. I put a tilt wheel in. I painted up a center console to go in there with some paint from LMR. So we're gonna do some testing now. I do have a radiator leak, so I'm gonna swap the radiator out, and then we'll try to get this thing in. It's got a weird start condition. I'll show you in the video here. Not timing. That's weird. But now it's like a cream puff. So I'm gonna get a couple things going, at least get the radiator swapped out, get this thing running, and see if I can diagnose some stuff. So here we go. I'm a big fan of the 4Ride stuff, and I saw this one and it was a cool color combo, the brown with brown interior, and it had a lot of potential to kind of just be like a beater. And then, you know, I found the appropriate parts and it turned out to be, it went together pretty smoothly. T5 in it, shifts great. It's got an 8.8 with stock gears in it, but it's just fun to drive. So I just, you know, I went to my storage unit and saw how many parts I could find and asked some friends for some things, and, you know, it turned out we were able to put an entire car together with just the parts we had laying around. The car is a fuel injected car, even though it's an 83, and I kind of hot wired a harness in, but it's not in the wiring. If you really look at, you know, the EEC4 diagram, you don't need a ton of, you know, you need your key on, you need keep alive memory, battery power, and grounds are really the most important to me. Grounds are quite important too, and everything checks out there as far as wiring. I'm going to continue to get the radiator swapped over. It's ready to come out now. The issue of the timing not retarding at startup. With the spout out, it'll crank over like a dream. It's got a B cam in it, the glorious B cam, so it kind of runs a bit rough with the spout out. So, you know, you put the spout in and it just, like I said, it acts as though the timing is not retarding at startup. Now, if you look at the harness where the car receives key on power to kind of initiate the EEC relay, there's another wire there, red with a blue stripe. That'll kind of see your crank signal. I do have that wired up that way, and I've done some tests. When the car is warm, it starts better. So I'm about to put coolant in this thing, and we'll see what we're working with. All right, so here you can see that second wire I was telling you about, the one that the TFI basically needs to see a crank signal only. I have it rigged up here. When I do, the car cranks over beautifully, but we get no fire. So if I disconnect this, back into the car now with that wire unhooked. So that's what we want to figure out. That hard crank. Right away, you know, to the mechanics out there, to the weekend warriors, everybody would say it's timing, right? Timing's conservative at 10 right now. And it's got 89 in it. And it's raining. So I'll have to keep it running, obviously, because she won't want to run on her own. And I've done the normal things, you know, unplug the O2s. The one thing that strikes me is with the spout connector unhooked, it'll crank over and fire like a dream. Injectors have been cleaned, tested, TPS is set. The only thing I haven't done is check fuel pressure. And I know it sounds foolish, but I don't have an adapter for the line. I gotta get one, because I kind of made a little quick fuel system because the car wasn't fuel injected to begin with, and I didn't have fuel lines. All right, so thinking that it may have something to do with the distributor, I just went ahead and swapped one out for a known good one out of a car, a non-issue car, and we're gonna go back and test that. It's driving me crazy. I'm a mechanic by trade, you know, and I understand that there's a lot of Fox body content on here, and I've messed with Mustangs quite a bit in my life, and I'm totally open to anybody down in the comments if they want to leave a suggestion. Well, that's pretty nice, but for some reason we have no tach. There it goes. Just kind of eyeball the timing, but catch itself and bring itself up. 24-pound injector with a matched meter, nothing really crazy. Like I said, timing was set conservative. One other thing I mentioned is I had trouble communicating with the computer at one point, and I had to mess with some kind of like odd way of powering it up, and then I was able to communicate with it. So that's an option as well. I'll get this thing burped, get some heat in it, see what I think, and then maybe we'll check out the computer. Get some heat in it, burped it a little bit, but now takes the high idle. So we got the A9L swapped in. No issues as far as running and driving. I mean, it's a simple setup. It's a B cam with 24-pound injectors. Really, really odd. It just has that weird crank issue. The gear's all there, no skipping, no dead holes. An odd one. So heat is good, you know. It even takes the high idle there and comes down on the cam. The only two things I need to do, and I know it's like start simple stupid, mechanics would be shaking their head at me, but I have to verify fuel pressure, and also I think, you know, I'm gonna run the key on and start wire to power up the harness. I'm gonna run that right off the ignition switch out to the wire. I found it out here. It reads at like 11.6 volts. Maybe I could get a little more if I tested at the ignition switch. I don't know if that's the issue. And then for the run wire going to the TFI module, I'm gonna grab that off of the neutral safety switch and, you know, send it right out to where I can grab it at the harness maybe that's the issue. Maybe because I'm jumping it at the starter solenoid, it's kind of drawing so much that they can't fire the car. I don't know. Right now, all I know is, you know, I understand how YouTube works, and there's going to be a bunch of guys out there. I have no issues with, you know, shit talking. That just happens. But also, if anybody has any suggestions or things to test, I'd be totally open to checking it out. I really feel like at the end of the day that it's not retarding timing when it's starting up. Let's check it when it's hot. Yeah, see, it's still doing that. And you would listen to that and say, oh, it's timing's not right, but it's right. Again, with the spout disconnected, I get it to crank over smooth, no issues. It just obviously runs really super low on timing. Other thing, like I had mentioned, I haven't tested fuel pressure. Once the car is running, it performs great, runs great. I've went through the initial test of the TFI. We even went as far as swapped the whole distributor, no issue. Swapped an A9L, no issue, changed. Time to go through my wiring, because as I said, the harness is kind of hot wired in there. I notice the key on and crank wire is 11.8 volts. Not really the end of the world, but maybe I can find a better source or grab it right off the ignition switch. But yeah, the only other thing that really has me guessing is the MSD coil. I know it sounds foolish, but I've had nothing but problems with those in the past. So I just wanted to kind of get you guys involved. If anybody has any input or any suggestions, I would be glad to take a look at that stuff. I do have a YouTube channel involving something totally not related to cars, but it's just something I want to do for fun. I've been getting back into the whole four-eyed fox body thing, and this is kind of like the first video in a way. So like I said, man, anybody with some suggestions down below would be great. Any kind of help, and I will be sure to keep you guys updated when we find out what's wrong. If you are a fan of the Fox Body stuff, I have quite a few other projects I'm about to dig into. So yeah, hang out, and be sure to stick around and stay updated. And I hope to get this thing fixed, and I'll keep you guys posted.